Have you ever thought about how some of the biggest, most life-changing truths weren't spelled out in some complicated textbook, but were actually hidden inside really simple stories? Well, that's what we're diving into today, the parables of Jesus. These are stories so straightforward a kid can understand them, but they're so deep that we're still wrestling with them thousands of years later.
So let's really lean into that question for a second. What if stories about farmers, shepherds, and messy family situations were actually secret keys? Keys designed to unlock profound spiritual truths that our logical minds might just argue with. That right there is the power of a parable, and it's what we're going to unpack. So first off, what is a parable exactly? Well, you can think of it as a brilliant teaching tool. It's basically an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. Jesus used things everyone knew, like seeds, fishing nets, and family drama, to build a bridge, helping us get our heads around these huge, unseen spiritual realities.
Okay, let's jump right into one of the most famous examples, the parable of the sower. On the surface, it sounds like a pretty basic lesson in agriculture, right? But what's going on underneath that surface? Well, that's a story about you and me.
The story itself is super simple. A farmer goes out and scatters a bunch of seed, and it lands on 4 totally different kinds of ground. And, as you'd expect, the results are wildly different. Some of the seed gets snatched up immediately, some of it sprouts up all exciting-like, but then just fizzles out. Some gets completely choked out by weeds, and then there's the seed that absolutely thrives.
And here's the absolute genius of it. Jesus didn't leave anyone guessing. He explained the symbolism himself. The seed, he said, isn't just a plant seed. It's the word of God. And the soil? Well, that's us. That's the human heart. It's an incredible concept, right? The message itself is constant, but the outcome, that depends entirely on the condition of our hearts.
And that, of course, brings the whole story right back to us. It forces you to stop and ask a pretty tough question. What kind of soil is my heart? You know, is it hard and packed down, totally closed off? Is it kind of shallow, where I get excited about things, but there's no real depth? Is it just completely overgrown with the worries and distractions of everyday life? Or is it good soil, ready to let something amazing grow?
Now, let's switch gears and look at how these stories reveal God's character. We're going to explore 2 parables that show this absolutely radical sense of mercy and grace. We're talking about the famous stories of the lost sheep and the prodigal son.
So, picture this. A shepherd has 100 sheep. One of them wanders off. Now, logic might tell you, hey, 99 out of 100 ain't bad. Cut your losses. But that is not what the shepherd does. He literally leaves the entire flock vulnerable to go on a desperate search for that single, solitary lost sheep. And this story tells us something incredible about the nature of God's love. It's personal. It's not about the group. It's about the individual. The message is that you are never just a number in a crowd. You are seen, you are valued, and you are worth searching for, especially when you feel lost.
Okay, now for what might be one of the most powerful stories ever told. You've got this younger son who basically tells his dad, "You're dead to me," by demanding his inheritance. He goes off, blows it all on reckless living, and ends up completely broke and humiliated. He's so desperate, he actually rehearses a speech to beg his dad to hire him as a servant. But watch the father's reaction. He sees his son coming from a long way off, and he runs. No lecture, no "I told you so," just a massive hug and a huge party. But wait, the story's not over, because there's this older brother, the one who stayed home, followed all the rules, and did everything right. And he is furious. He's seething with resentment that his screw-up brother gets a party. And this contrast is just brilliant. The parable shows there are 2 ways to be lost. You can be lost by running away, or you can be lost by staying right at home, but with a heart that's cold and full of pride. All right, let's shift focus to a parable that completely flips our understanding of a fundamental question: who deserves our help? This, of course, is the story of the Good Samaritan. So the scene is pretty grim. A guy gets mugged, beaten, and left for dead on the side of the road. Then along come 2 religious leaders, a priest and a Levite, the exact people you'd think would help. But they both see him and cross to the other side of the road. And then comes the story's hero, a Samaritan. Now, Samaritans were despised enemies, but he's the one who stops, patches the guy up, and even pays for his recovery. And you have to remember, this whole incredible story was an answer to a very specific question someone asked Jesus. So, who is my neighbor? It's a question we still ask, right? Where do we draw the line on who we have to care about? And the answer the parable gives is honestly radical. It just demolishes all the lines we like to draw between us and them. Your neighbor isn't defined by your zip code, your politics, or your religion. Your neighbor is simply the person in front of you who needs help, period. The story screams that real faith isn't just about what you believe in your head. It's about what you do with your hands.
So, after looking at all these examples, it kind of leads to a bigger question, doesn't it? Why this method? Why not just give people a list of rules? Let's talk about the unique, almost magical power of these stories.
I mean, really, why wrap these huge, world-changing ideas in the simple packaging of a story? Why all the extra effort? Well, it turns out there was a very deliberate and frankly brilliant reason for it.
Here's the secret sauce. Think about it. If someone points a finger in your face and says, "You need to change," what's your first reaction? Your walls go straight up, right? You get defensive. But a story doesn't do that. It invites you in. It's like a Trojan horse for truth. You're just listening to a story about a farmer or a father, and before you even realize it, the truth has slipped past your defenses and found a home in your heart. And that's why these ancient stories still hit so hard today. They aren't just about people who lived 2,000 years ago. They are about us. In these characters, we see ourselves. We are the soil, sometimes receptive, sometimes distracted. We are the lost sheep. We are the wandering son. We have it in us to be the person who walks by on the other side of the road, and also to be the one who stops to help.
You know, a great way to think about it is that the parables are mirrors. They are perfectly designed to show us our own reflection, to help us see our spiritual condition with crystal clarity. But they don't just leave us there. They show us where we are, yes, but they also point the way to where we're being called to go. So as we wrap this up, I just want to leave you with this one thought. After hearing these stories again, maybe with fresh ears, which one is holding up a mirror to you right now? Which one seems to be telling your story, reflecting your struggles, or maybe your hopes? Because that's the beautiful thing about these parables. They're still speaking today.